GM All Access, powered by Teamworks. And this week, man, we're talking LSU's GM, Austin Thomas. And Austin Thomas is a GM from the year 2040, living in the year 2025. That sounds bizarre, but it'll make sense here in a second. GM All Access, powered by Teamworks. Y'all go ahead and win the revenue-sharing era with Teamworks General Manager, purpose-built for collegiate athletics, trusted by 99% of D1 NCAA institutions. Teamworks is uniquely designed by those who understand the challenges of college athletics, strategically allocate resources, optimize investments, evaluate your roster, and build championship-caliber teams, all on one integrated platform. Check out teamworks.com/general-manager to learn more. So Austin Thomas, like I said, GM at LSU, and I told you, I think he's got like the future of the GM position figured out, because we're at a point now in college football where the GM position is evolving. We've talked about that on the show, whether it be with Cody Belair of On 3 or whether it be just us doing these segments on our own. There's not really a super defined role for what the GM is. Some of it's evaluating roster construction, some of it's being a recruiter, some of it's both those things. Austin Thomas is essentially the I think it's fine to say this. I think he's essentially like the AD of the football team, if you will. Like, there is nothing that happens within LSU football that Austin Thomas is not overseeing, doesn't know about, doesn't have his hand in. Like, he is obviously very involved within the building with roster construction and recruiting and all those things. Austin Thomas is also out here working the NIL side. He's getting outside the building and activating the NIL part of things. And so you talk about that transfer portal class that LSU just hauled in. Thank Austin Thomas, because he is a big part of why that whole thing is happening. Also, it's worth noting, he was the first GM in the SEC. So his role has evolved a lot as college football has changed and as his coaching staff has changed from Les Miles to Coach O. But the role he's doing right now with Brian Kelly is one that I think all GMs are slowly but surely going to get to. And what I mean by that is, right now in college football, the general manager position, we said it before, mostly in the building, mostly football stuff. But like Austin Thomas, as much as he works with Brian Kelly, he works with Scott Woodward, the AD at LSU. And so for Austin Thomas now, as things progress, like the benefit that you have at LSU is you have a guy in your GM position in Baton Rouge that is going to keep things consistent regardless of, where college football is at. So the benefit there is you have true alignment within your building from the top down, from Woodward to Austin Thomas to Brian Kelly to the rest of the staff. And so the reason why that's impactful is if you are talking about, the future of college football eventually getting to this point, if LSU is living in 2040 right now with how they structure the building, and when they bring on coaches and when they bring on their roster, they're operating from a step ahead from everybody else. And so we talk about the care factor and how that translates to dollars and cents. LSU's in the best position right now structurally to, one, activate that with your GM, overseeing the admin part of your football team. And then also you're able to have a structure to make sure it all goes to the right place. Finally now, it allows Brian Kelly to do what he's brought there to do, right? Like Brian Kelly, of course, has his hand in the roster and, of course, has a hand in recruiting and all those things. I mean, it's a massive part of his job. But like Brian Kelly is a football coach. And so when you have a guy overseeing all the admin stuff as your GM, like Austin Thomas is, that frees up your coaches to be coaches. Of course, you got to deal with the extra stuff that is college football, but I don't think that Brian Kelly probably has to nearly as much as other coaches in the sport because Austin Thomas has got that all on lock. So to put it simply, LSU is set up for the future, and Austin Thomas is a massive, massive reason why with how he's overseeing things on the GM side in Baton Rouge. So don't be surprised now if LSU continues to crush it at the portal level, crush it at the high school level, and when they do, make sure Austin Thomas gets his props for his hand, not just in the recruitment and the roster construction, but also the NIL activation and having the give a darn care, the give a darn factor, the care factor to afford all those top talented recruits.